What are some ways that the community can approach? We understand that there's been some challenges of bringing up mental health in community conversations and addressing it, and even having challenges bringing it up even in close circles, whether it be in family circles, close friendships, other relationships. So how can the community come together and really approach this topic constructively, as well as identify some tangible solutions to confronting and addressing this issue around mental health?
You already alluded to this in your question, but I think it starts with talking about it. I think pastors should talk about it, teachers should talk about it, doctors should talk about it. And the more there's just open discussion and we're naming it and normalizing it and saying this is a thing, it's okay, and we need to discuss it together, it just takes the air out of it a little bit. We've come a long way with destigmatizing some of the mental health issues, but there's still self-consciousness around that. So talking about it together and saying it's okay, this is a common issue, we want to discuss it together, we want to generate solutions. We don't have to have all the answers, but if we can have discussions openly and honestly and authentically, it certainly takes us in the right direction.
That's great.
I completely agree with Mike. I think there's a lot of beauty in vulnerability, and I think that it is a lot more prevalent than we think it is. I think historically, knowing someone that was struggling with mental health was kind of an arm's length away, and it's not the case anymore. It is all around us, and being willing to share your story and your struggles really allows others to be able to feel comfortable and open up. And I believe that a lot of healing can take place in the community setting, whether that's within your family, whether that's within your friends, church members, whoever it may be. I think that's where we can truly make an impact, because it takes a lot of people to be able to raise children, and it's not just up to one parent or two parents, but to be able to lean into each other, and telling your story allows others to feel validated. And I would also say, asking the questions and actually listening when people say how they're doing, and really coming at it from a mindset of curiosity and just really wanting to know how people are doing, and being willing to sit in sometimes that awkward silence, because people don't need a fix right away, but they do need to be heard, and they do just need someone to actually ask those questions, because sometimes they're not being asked of how are you actually doing? How is your child doing? Are they struggling with this? And being willing to engage in those conversations.
I think it's really important too for us as leaders and influencing people and communities and families to specifically give parents permission to be vulnerable to their kids about their own struggles. I think that we've had generations in the past of parents keeping a lot of secrets, to be honest, and to not be fully transparent about the things that they've been struggling with, and to just normalize those conversations. Like Mike and Molly are saying, that parents can also have such a huge impact on their kids by allowing their vulnerability to make a difference in their own families, so their kids feel comfortable talking about those issues as well.
It's great. Our teens are really good at perceiving who cares and who doesn't. Whether that's a teacher, a coach, a youth pastor, they have great detectors for authenticity and do you really care? And any community member can demonstrate caring and listening. You don't have to be a trained therapist to ask a teen, how are you? Are things okay? Or tell me about something that's going on in your life. And just broaching that barrier to, you matter, I want to connect with you, tell me about your world.
Yeah.
Anyone in the community can do that.
I love that. So to all of your points, you all have emphasized really the importance of coming together, and really the sense of community, and having that intentionality when addressing this, and having those intentional conversations, being able to hear and take a moment to actually take a moment out of our day to hear how someone may or may not be doing. And so what I'd love to hear from you all a little bit more and building upon this is we know that this doesn't take one particular individual, one particular organization to do the work in silos, but rather a community at large. And you all represent some wonderful organizations here in our local community, here in Centennial and across the Denver metro area. And talk to me a little bit about how each of your organizations, and maybe more broadly, how our various community sector partners can be really taking that intentional approach to work together, not separately in silos, but how can we be doing better from a faith community standpoint, from a nonprofit standpoint, from maybe a service practitioner standpoint? How can we continue to build upon this and really come together and continue to strengthen our community?
I know for us, it's really important that everyone in our church community is in a community group so that they have a smaller group of people that they're doing life with, that they are having open conversations, that they're having those experiences of transparency and vulnerability, and that there is automatically a group of people, if they're having struggles with their teen, that they can go to and ask for help and reinforcement. I know that the groups that are living in community are doing a better job of getting resources to people quicker. So that's one of the things that has helped a lot, like in a faith-based community, is actually doing life together and being honest with each other about what the struggles are and struggles that they're having with their kids.
Yeah, I think with Shiloh House, our biggest thing is to meet a child and a family where they are at the right time with the right service. And so not trying to have services that are cookie cutter that they have to fit in, but being able to adapt our services to wherever the family and the child find themselves. We have our family resource pavilion that's here in Centennial that includes other partners that if our organization can't provide the services, that we have other partners in that building that can, because we really believe in being able to meet a family and not turn them away when they need services, but find the right organization, the right group of people, the right church to be able to connect them so that they can start the healing process.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I build on that. I mean, we're all on the same team, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there anybody that's going to be against good teen mental health, right? So to remember that we're working together, partnering with each other, connecting families and teens with the right kind of community resources, mental health support when needed, and communicating with each other about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this has been referenced, but I want to repeat it. When parents recognize they're not the only ones struggling with an issue with their teen, when that becomes acceptable and normal, whether they hear it from someone at church or the neighbor next door or wherever else they hear it, that becomes a change agent, because then they can relax a little bit and engage instead of be in that place of fear. And so I know for mental health, right, this is terminology we use. It's called client-centered, which simply means you meet people where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So with teenagers, you start with meeting them where they are, accepting, listening, and then you expand to their world and community and working together. So I think there's a lot. It's easy to go into our silo. I like that you use that term, because we can get focused on what we're doing. But I love these types of connections where we're collaborative, working together, supporting each other.
Absolutely. Sharing information and best practices across organizations is really important and wonderful. So thank you all so much. This is incredible.